gentlemen, you're now tuning into the very best. It's yours truly, Jazzy Fizzle, Fizzle, Fizzle. And this is Instinct Radio, man. Tune in, baby. Oh, boy.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.
Hello, welcome to Women of Empowerment Radio Show. We're so excited to have you here today. We have an awesome show getting ready for you today. As you see, we have a packed house here to give you a lot of information. Today, we're going to be talking about mental illness, and as you know, May is the month of mental illness awareness. So my name is Kayl. I am a leadership and customer service coach. I am a radio talk show host. I am a speaker, a mentor, and an author. And this is my co-host.
Hello everybody, my name is Audrey Amager, and I'm so happy to be here, and I'm just ready to hear all this good information we're going to get today.
Awesome. So first, before we get started, because we only have an hour and 40 minutes, so you know this is a lot we have to cover with this. But before we get started, I want to say congratulations to us first, because this is our 1 year anniversary.
Awesome.
And we're totally excited. I mean, how we started, we just got thrown in here a little bit.
Yes.
We did a little show, and then the next month we got called to ask could we be co-hosts on the show.
Right.
Wow, nice.
So it has been a ride ever since then, and hopefully we have had a name change since then. We started off as Success Radio,
Yes.
but because of the type of topics that we have where we empower the public to come on and talk about things that are important in the community, we changed to Women of Empowerment Radio Show, because we empower others to come on and talk about things that are important. So congratulations to us, Marcia,
Congratulations
Audrey,
to us.
myself. We are the Women of Empowerment. Woohoo!
Yes.
So the second thing, order of business, we have to talk about is we are receiving our internet radio show station #1, Instinct Radio. We are so excited to be a part of Instinct Radio. So we were chosen to be the #1 internet radio station. So all of you all go please and download the app, Instinct Radio app, on your Androids and on your iOS, your Apple devices. Please, I love for you to watch watch our show on Facebook Live, but it's so important for our producers to see how many viewers we really have, because they don't really look back at the Facebook Lives. That is for you to share it to other people so that they can get this good information as well. So please do that. Remember, you can call in or you can text in any questions or comments that you may have to 478-569-6474. One more time, 478-569-6474. Thank you so much for joining us. So we're going to go and let our guests introduce themselves, and we're going to start here. So you're right on in there.
It was
Jump
nice.
in. Go for it.
My name is LaShone Garth, and I am the founder of Blanket of Freedom, which is a veteran service organization that helps to not treat, but helps to take care of veterans who are suffering from mental illness using drama and expressive therapeutic interventions.
Okay, we're going to come back to you and talk about some other things that you're doing. Yes, sir.
All right. I'm Andy Rosado. I'm a master barber, massage therapist, naturalist, researcher, and soon to be a herbalist. Something that I'm very serious about, and I have great passion for.
Awesome. Okay.
I'm Professor Keba Green. I am a psychotherapist, relationship coach, published author, international speaker.
Awesome. And we're going to definitely talk about something that you posted yesterday that I thought was excellent information.
Thank
yes,
you.
ma'am.
Hey everyone, I'm so excited to be here. I'm Tiffany Conyers. I am a psychotherapist, licensed clinical social worker. I am owner of Maternal Instinct, where we just work with moms, help women and mothers pursue motherhood and triumph. And so my focus is maternal mental health, and it is Maternal Mental Health Awareness Month as well.
Awesome.
Connecting it to Mother's Day. This is just an awesome topic. So thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We love having you. Thank you all for coming on. And we do want to say, because today is Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Yes,
And remember, you don't have to have a
Aunts,
child to be a
godmothers,
mother.
that's right.
Anyone who has helped a child, and we know
Right.
that, it comes in so many capacities. So happy Mother's Day to all of you all. So I want to come back to Miss Veteran here. I am a veteran as well, so congratulations. And thank you so much
Thank you for your service.
So besides being a veteran, what else do you do?
Wow, that's a loaded question. I do so much. When I first retired, I got into pageantry, won a couple of pageants, so I'm a pageant queen.
Yay!
Oh, and the Miss USA pageant is on tonight. So a fellow veteran who just is going to be giving up her crown
Do you have
tonight,
that flyer to put
Miss
up?
USA,
That's cool.
Miss Deshauna Barber, who I was confused for at one point in time. But that's another funny story. I do radio as well. I'm also an actress, director, producer, done voiceovers, and got a couple of books on Amazon that I've narrated.
Okay.
What else do I do? A lot.
I guess before we get started, because a lot of people don't know and I've been putting some stuff out for mental illness awareness. A lot of things that people don't even realize is considered a mental illness. So with you all, we're going to start with you, Miss Keba. Put some things out that you know that are in the, what is that book called?
DSM-5.
Thank you so
DSM-5.
much. DSM-5. Some of the things that are actually we can. Let's start with you then, and tell us some things that are considered mental illness, because a lot of people really don't know.
Yeah, they don't know. Well, Keba, please chime in.
Okay.
I will need your support. No, some of the most popular you may hear: bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, depression, anxiety, generalized anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder. We talk about veterans and their health, and that seems to be a big one associated with those coming back from war, or anyone who's experienced trauma. Not just veterans,
Right.
but anyone who's
And it's
survived
good
trauma.
for you to say that, because a lot of people don't know that.
Oh,
They
definitely.
only associate that with people who have been in the military.
Things like adjustment disorder. That's just simply you having problems adjusting to something major that just happened in your life, a major milestone. I mean, that's considered a mental illness or mental disease. So there's a slew of diagnoses. And I'm sure we all can find ourselves in the DSM-5 in
Yes,
some shape.
some way.
All of us do. But those are just some of the basic ones that I think are most popular.
Okay, can you
Definitely
add
the
on to
most
some?
popular, the bipolar. We throw that word around so much.
Right.
We play with it a lot. Oh, they're bipolar. The weather's bipolar. We say that all the time, and we have to be really careful, I think, in throwing those words out. And I even have to catch myself, even saying some things in that word crazy.
Right.
We say that, oh, you just crazy, I'm acting crazy. We have to be really careful and mindful of those words that we speak, because if a person is having mental health issues, they're already stigmatized and feel like they're being isolated. So we have to be really careful. I know I kind of jumped off the subject, but we have to be really mindful of those words, because those are things that we throw around. I'm trying to think of the ones that we throw around all the time, and we don't really, I don't think we take schizo, schizo. Even though people don't really know what schizo looks like, we throw that word out there a lot. And there's several different types of schizophrenia. And so depending on what's going on, paranoid type and different things, it can be a lot of reasons why people are schizo. So medication, I think we talked about this before on your show, food, air, environment, stressors. So many things lead to mental illness that we don't even realize. And then, so all of those factors on top of, if you really have something going on in the brain chemically that is off balance, help to aggravate or, elevate those enhancers.
So like today I put in Alzheimer's, because I didn't know that Alzheimer's was actually
Considered
I didn't know until one of my ex-co-workers, when she did my review, she put that in the review, and I had to go back and get. Well, I knew her mom had Alzheimer's. We have been, together with that for a long
Dementia,
time.
Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
But I didn't know, and I was like, why would she put that on there? And I went back and looked it up, and it actually was. So I put that out today, and she had done that a while back. And I thought that was so important. I said, well, let me look at some other things. So postpartum depression, that's one of them. That's a mental illness. Dementia is a part of mental illness. What's the one that they talk about the man has, our president has?
Oh, narcissistic
narcissistic
personality
Yeah.
disorder.
I can't pronounce it, so that's why I had to ask
Yeah.
you. So,
Narcissism,
yes. So that's one of them, It's just so many. Can you add on
quite a
to
few,
other,
unfortunately.
It's
But
the
we're
time.
gonna leave it there.
Yeah, I better pray for y'all, president.
other ones that you want to add on that you all know of some?
We said schizophrenia.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Well, I know, like, people, talk about panic attacks, so panic disorder,
Anxiety,
and
yes.
a lot of people don't know that,
Mm-hmm.
panic disorder, whatever.
And it's real.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
real. I have a goddaughter that has anxiety attacks, and up until I saw her, they told me that she had one. I'm like, anxiety? She's a young girl. What is she stressing about? You know what I'm saying? But then it's a disease. It's a chemical imbalance. It's something that needs to be fixed. So now she's dealing with it better because she's on medication. And her diet was already, good, but she's trying to,
Change
some
some
other
things
things
up, yeah.
that she's trying to switch up to see.
And there are varying levels, too, like we were talking about number 45 and narcissistic personality disorder. There's people with just a generalized personality disorder,
Yes.
And then there are chronic issues, mental issues. So, it's all kind of levels. And
Absolutely.
Right.
My friend posted a question the other day. He said, can a person with mental illness know that he has a problem, that he has a mental illness?
According to which one he has.
Yeah.
And if he does, can he accept it for himself is the other question.
Wow.
That's the
Depending on
individual.
And
That's on the individual cases.
But that's a
So
good
you have to
question
be
because I
honest
say
with
that
yourself.
all the time that we don't know what we're looking at.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, especially in black and brown communities, we don't know what we're looking at. So we pass it off as, they're just acting out. That's just Ray acting up.
Right.
Ray been doing this since he was 5. He know what he's doing. No, Ray does not know what he's doing.
Right.
You can try to beat it out of you and
Yeah.
take everything from it. Hasn't worked.
Yeah.
It's something else going on there. And
That's
it's
right.
not just I'm just acting out, or acting up. I am acting out, actually, because I'm trying to get your attention to tell you that something is wrong. I don't know what it is, and I need some help communicating that to you and to the world. So, yes.
So autism is another one that, when you hear babies and the kids acting up in stores and hollering and screaming, it used to drive me crazy until years ago when I really realized that, whereas my boys didn't have autism, yes, I can stop them from doing some things and I can hold them tightly to let them know what I
Give
mean.
them that look.
But I had to realize that not all mothers are able to do
Right.
that. You
Yeah,
can hold
when
that
you're
child
dealing with
tightly. You may not
autism.
even should be touching
Right.
them. You have to
Child
let them
autism
holler it out
Yeah.
or scream it out or whatever. You have to treat that child differently. So and I put that out yesterday about autism because a lot of people are not used to that. Because I walk through the stores now and I hear other people say, especially in the African American community, we are very strict about, acting up in
Discipline.
public and stuff. So I hear them saying, oh no, that couldn't be my child. And I used to say that, that couldn't be my child,
Yeah.
that I've been did this and that and
Right.
that. But then I had to realize, and I'm saying, see, they need to be educated. And that's
True.
why we need to bring, awareness to mental illness because it's so important because a lot of people do not know what mental illness look like. And that leads me into this. People, they think mental illness has a look. Hey there. They think mental illness has a look, so they can't look at a
Right.
person and tell.
Yes.
So when we go out and feed the homeless and things like that and help with the homeless, even the people who are out there assisting them, I'll hear them say something like, oh, they just crazy, oh, they got a problem, or and then I'll say, my husband right here. He's schizophrenic. That's what our book is about. So you can't look because you didn't say that about him because you couldn't tell that he had that. But you can say that about this person because you know something is wrong with them. It's just like when we see our people on, and that's what to add a point to your question. A lot of times when you see people who, and this is not everyone, But when you see people on drugs and when you see alcoholics and stuff, they're self-medicating themselves. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
That's true.
Bipolar, that's the one we forgot. No, we said
No, we
bipolar.
said
bipolar.
But a lot of bipolar people self-medicate with marijuana. With marijuana, because they don't understand the mood swings and the imbalances that they're going through. They don't understand why they're feeling the way they're swinging back and forth. So a lot of people do self-medicate with alcohol and marijuana.
Okay, see? So that's one of them. See, sometimes they know because they're trying to suppress some of the things that's happening to them, some of the voices that they're hearing, some of the experiences that are going on that we can't really tell. Some people, because of the stigmatization that they have on them, they prefer for someone to say that they are alcoholics or they're drug addicts than to say that they're mentally ill.
It's more acceptable.
Exactly.
Right, it's more acceptable in society.
And why is that? Why, when you look now, and that just leads me right on into the next one. Why, when you think about because
segue.
right, and I love it. But when you think about the stars, all of them are depressed because that sounds better.
Exactly.
Because that's not really a mental illness to them. And I truly believe more than likely it's not just depression.
I'm sure.
Well, why do people look at different mental illnesses differently? Or why do they just want to say, I'm depressed versus really being honest and saying that I am bipolar, I am schizophrenic, I am whatever I am?
Because I think it carries it carries a different connotation in society. So especially if, depending on what field you're in, like military for us, that could be damaging to our career, especially depending on what job specialty that we're in. So you could lose your clearance, you could lose a whole bunch of things when you start labeling yourself with these various illnesses. So it makes people say that I have something other than this in order to remain under the radar.
That's true. And then a lot of times people won't say anything, like even your best friend, because you talk to your best friend and say, hey girl, that boy is crazy. She has a problem. She can't come to you because right now
You didn't already.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I had a friend. He's gay, and because his mom used to use the F word all the time, he didn't want to go to her and tell her that he was gay because of how she used the F word all the time. And she's like, and y'all know what the F word is, okay? So, you know,
Another word for gay.
Exactly. And he didn't want to go to her, and so that's the same thing that you're saying. So we have to be careful of the words that we're putting out. But the other thing, did anybody else want to answer that question first?
I mean, it's just like she said. I think that we found nice words to say that's acceptable, and so we use those as opposed to it can damage your whole life, your whole career. Those things follow you forever. That's why it's hard for people to come to therapy, because once you get that diagnosis, that goes with you forever. So I tell we'll talk about that later, but I do cash business, so I don't necessarily have to give you a diagnosis on paper unless it is severe and you may need some medication to go to a psychiatrist, that type of thing. But those things, they keep you from jobs, they keep they stigmatize you so much that then you not understanding yourself, an individual not understanding the diagnosis themselves, can't handle it. So I don't even know how to accept it, so how can you accept me if I can't accept myself?
Right. But do you think that anybody else want to add anything?
No, that was great. That was great what you said. I agree with that.
But don't you think that, when you suppress that and you're not really saying what you really are, it's hard to bring awareness to it. It's hard to get the teachers really trained on how to take care of our children. It's hard to get the police trained on how to take care of people that they encounter with the mental illness, because we're suppressing everything. And then until someone dies, or until it's your child who is not getting the attention that they need to get in school to get the help that they need to get so that they can be successful, until we can verbalize what is really going on, we can't help any of that. We can't change any of that.
How can you heal what's not exposed? How can you heal what you don't have a name to? So we go in prayer all the time for something that we don't even know what it is. You understand? You haven't even put a name to it. So how you asking God to heal something you don't even know what it is?
Yeah.
So first get the diagnosis, understand what you're dealing with, and then you can go to him and say, Lord, I now declare and decree. I don't mean go preach on you. Declare and decree. You know what I'm saying? That I am healed in my body, in my mind, and my spirit. And so before we can do that, you have to have a name to it. You got to put something to that. And so we don't do that.
Help it for yourself, right? Because they say, God don't help those who don't help themselves.
He didn't gave you the help. The help is there. He going backwards, forward. You see what I'm saying? He's starting at the end and going to the beginning. So it's already done. It's for you to do the work. Now he done laid the foundation. It's done. Yeah.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? So
I think part of the issue, and I hope that we can get to a point where this gets corrected, is we do put these labels on individuals, and we think that there's only one or two things that can fix you. You got to go to therapy, you got to see a psychiatrist, or you got to take medication. And I don't discredit those things, because right now I got a purse full of medication that I carry with me everywhere I go. But there are other ways to deal with certain things. And if we can start pushing those other modalities out there and letting people know, you don't have to sit in front of a psychiatrist and they're taking notes and you're spilling out your life. That's why we started. That's why I started Blanket of Freedom, using drama and expressive therapy, because people were more willing to come in and go through a dramatic type of exercise because it's less confrontational. They're acting, they're dealing with other things, and they're able to get in touch with their emotions in a non-confrontational way. So maybe if we can start pushing these other therapeutic methods and options, people will be more willing to say, okay, you know what, let me go this route that might be helpful, and I don't need to necessarily go sit in front of a psychiatrist, and I can still get the help that I need.
I think what you're saying is amazing, because there's got to be other ways that people can receive treatment, quote unquote, without receiving treatment, because there is a lot of stigma attached with going to a therapist or getting on medication.
And that's another question.
We have to also meet people where they are. I know I work with moms that seem to be very responsive to peer support. Working with other moms that have gone through major depressive disorder, or some other anxiety or OCD, that obsessive compulsive disorder, and they don't understand why and how and why am I feeling this way? Oh gosh, you're feeling that way too? You felt that way? Oh gosh. There's some camaraderie, there's some commonality, and there's that peer support that helps as well. And then, of course, when they're in that peer group and it's something a little bit more severe that they can't handle in the group, and we have a place where they can be referred to.
Absolutely.
That's a very friendly, culturally competent environment. 'Cause I think about people of color that, part of some of the stigmas that they go to providers that don't look like them. They don't know their story, don't know the historical trauma that comes with them being, brown or black. So that's important for us to include in our dialogue about mental health awareness and what they can get out of it too.
And I love that, what you said, because what happens as well, unfortunately, some of these practitioners aren't educated enough either to understand the cultural differences that we have. And you get a black person or a brown person in front of one of these individuals, and they have told them something that this culture hasn't even dealt with, or something that's normal for a culture. Now they've diagnosed them with something that they don't have. So, it's an educational thing, I think, all around.
It is.
And that's good what you said, meet them where they are. But let me just say this, because it was so funny that you said that. The lesbian, gay community, whatever they're called, whatever the community is called.
LGBT.
Okay.
Q.
So what they're doing now is they're getting other lesbians and gays and all of that who are counselors and therapists to go ahead on and get an organization together so they can go ahead on and start counseling and having therapy for those people. Because what they're saying is they're going in front of people who are not used to them, and they are educated. They're paying them to educate them. and
Exactly.
then it takes so long for them to really get to,
The
you know,
real issue. Yeah, real
actually
word. Yeah.
to help them, because they're educating them on what's going on in their communities.
Right.
So this is sort of the same thing, and that's why we have to make sure our kids are going to be counselors and therapy, because we need people that look like us who are used to going through the same things that we go through in our communities, because it may be different than someone else of another ethnic group. They may not be going through the same thing.
Yeah. I also want to include the age and ageism as well as mental health
Yes.
related information, just because we have a lot of young people, some millennials that do need that type of mental health support, but they don't have access to someone that knows their culture.
That understands their
and
culture.
understand
Yes,
what
that's
they
for real.
need in therapy. The sign of the times, I'm also a Talkspace therapist. I don't know if you've heard of Talkspace, but it's a
Well, what's
text
that? So tell us.
messaging platform where you can get access to a therapist.
From your phone,
From your
anyway, internet.
phone.
Right, internet, all that.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so what I found is that there are a lot of just millennials, people who are like, you know what, I just kind of want to be able to just all
Right.
on my phone, which
Right.
I'm already doing anyway,
Right.
you know. But now I can talk to a therapist that's going to help me reframe,
Right.
process,
Absolutely.
regurgitate everything I gave back, and give me some of the good stuff back, and help me find trends and how I've been feeling, and help, you know, get me to a place where I can have some freedom. You
That
know,
is
freedom.
I'm
awesome.
glad you mentioned
Me too,
ageism, because
yeah.
the very first time I went to therapy, I had already had my master's degree at the time, and I went to go see somebody. It was a military person, but she wasn't military, and she was being supervised by a military person, but she was in her undergraduate degree. She was like 20 years old, and I'm like 40, and I'm like,
What you gonna tell me?
Definitely can't relate
right.
to one another.
So
Right.
You got to tell me.
right. I'm like, okay, no. So, you know, that's really important to make
It's
sure
very
that
important that we research. We do our research as clients
Yes.
on the other end. You know, if you're a parent or if you're a client that's looking for do your research. Every therapist is not going to fit. You know, and I hear so many people, oh, they didn't work for me. It didn't work. It was terrible. It was off. You know, who did you pick? You know, and you can't just stop at one. It's like if you go to the dentist. You know what I'm saying? If that one didn't. You ain't gonna stop going to the dentist. You're gonna find another
You gonna
one. You
find
know,
another, that's
so
right.
and so
right.
so you have to do your research, and I agree. You know, competence is so important, and unfortunately, we do have a lot of incompetent therapists.
And we're going to talk about that, because
Out
she
here.
did a post yesterday that, which I thought was great. But I think it's so, before we talk about that though, I think it's so important when you were saying, you know, meet the person where they are. And you have to have so many different ways that you can help them, because therapy may not be for everyone. What you're doing may be better for some people. The texting may be better for some people. So it is so awesome. But why is it so scary for people to go to a therapist?
It's really not scary for people to go to a therapist. It's scary for our culture, because we was brought up, you know, if Uncle Bill was crazy, he stayed in the back room. You know, you didn't say anything about it. Everybody knew
Everybody
Uncle
knew,
Bill was
yes,
crazy,
right.
but nobody talked about
Right.
it at the table. So as we grew up, we saw this, how everybody was hiding everything. So I'm saying to myself, oh my, I need help. I better not go, because my mama find out, you know,
put
she
me in
gonna
the
say
back
this
room.
is not. Yeah, exactly. She gonna say this is not, and that's the fear.
Yeah.
That's the fear. We have to get out of that fear. We have to step out of that.
I mean, just
You know.
tradition, exactly like you said,
Exactly.
just pass down tradition. Over the years, we've just been taught to
Grin and bear it.
grin and bear, you know,
Uh-huh.
especially black women. I'm sorry, black women.
You're right.
Just you go through, you press through, you push forward, no matter what the pain is. Black men too, you know, you press on, and so it's just tradition. And I think I'm not going to talk to a stranger. I'm not going to
Yeah.
tell nobody
All
my
my
business.
business.
And you telling your business to Sue on the phone every night, crying and everything. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So all on Facebook know your business.
Right.
So that's different. Why not go to somebody who can give you some tools to help you get your business? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I just think it's passed down tradition, a lot of it, and I just think it's the unknown. Like you said, it's just it's the unknown. I don't know if it's so much fear. It's just the unknown of what might really happen. They might really help me. They might not. It's just the unknown. It's the fear of the unknown.
But you know, most of them have some type of insurance, and on most insurance that you have, they have where you can go and talk to a
Now
therapist,
they do,
and
yeah.
they will pay for it.
But
But
let
they
me tell
do
you
used to have
that you get like a few sessions.
Yeah, you get about 3 or 4.
You know what I
3 to
mean?
5.
It's not really extensive.
Yeah.
They'll let you go and get a couple of sessions, and then depending on the diagnosis, if there is one at all,
Right.
will determine how much further they go.
That's true.
But it's not really extensive.
So what you're talking about is an employee
EAP,
assistance
yeah.
program.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, at least because I think one of the main causes is we don't know how to handle stress. We keep everything, especially and because we're all African Americans, we have to keep going back to the African American community because that's what we know,
That's
right?
what we, yeah.
And
Too.
we bottle everything up. I know I do. I mean, I just do what needs to be done, and I don't have time to talk about it because I got to get
think
over
about
it. You know, that's why since 1998, we just coming out with a book in 2017 because we kept everything bottled up. We really didn't talk about it. We just handled it as it came along. But a lot of times, if we took care of that stress right then, you know, even if it's just a few sessions, just someone else to talk to, someone that you don't know, someone that's just not biased on what you're talking about, I think that will really help us. So how can we get that out there that, when you're really feeling stressful, don't wait until, like the champagne bottle, it just pops. Go and talk to someone first. How can we get that across?
I think you should
Well, we
have to keep
have to-
saying it.
And we have to stop associating getting help with weakness.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah,
right?
that's good.
Getting help, right? People think, oh, I'm
Yeah,
weak
we-
if I
yeah.
gotta go.
Ask anybody.
Exactly.
Pride.
So we need to pull that, designation off of getting help because that's why a lot of people don't do it.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's quite the contrary, is that getting help is a sign of strength.
Right?
Recognizing
Absolutely.
that
Yes.
And it could
I
be
don't know
something
everything.
as simple as them 5 sessions. You may not need
Exactly.
any more. Like, I know people that just come and they be like, oh my God, I was in a car wreck or something. Maybe I'm dealing with grief. Those 5 sessions could do it.
Right.
And you don't always have to go to, I hate to say this because people do it, but you don't always have to go continuously. You may go once a year, you may go 3 times a year, as needed. Some people need intensive therapy,
Right.
but a lot of people just need some follow-up care. Like you
Exactly.
go to
Maintenance.
some maintenance, like you go to your physician. So you find you someone who can give you that. You know what I'm saying? That, come on, it's been 6 months, come on, check in with me. Let's do a couple of little sessions, make sure everything's good. You're still following your tools, you're still doing your steps, and then we can keep it moving.
Right.
And I think people don't understand, like, oh, I'm going to be committed to this for life. No,
Right.
not necessarily.
No, that's what, when people see me, that's what they say. This is a strong woman here. This is a strong woman who's had therapy.
Yeah.
I've went and talked to therapists. Yes, I am a strong woman. I can handle. God must think I'm one of the strongest women He ever made. But I'm also strong enough to know that I need to go talk to someone. And I love when you said that it doesn't. It may be 1 session, it may be 2 sessions. When my mother passed, I really thought I was going into depression. Then my aunt called me and said that she had gone to the doctor. The doctor gave her some medication, and I refused the medication from my doctor. And he sent me, I had 1 session, and that session helped me so much. Now, do I battle every day having to get up without Mom? Even though Mom wasn't going to be, she was stronger than I am, so she would just say, get your behind up, you got something to do. But, I didn't have to have medication in order to make it every day. Some people may need that medication. Some people may need therapy more than once. I only needed that one, so that was important that you said that. Because a lot of people think if I go, I'm going to be in it for life.
Yeah, and that's not.
Well, I believe every therapist needs a therapist,
Yes,
right?
that
So
is
I
very
have a
true.
therapist.
Absolutely.
I can only take you as far as I'm willing to take myself, right? So I can push myself, But I've battled with depression for a long time, and I refuse to take medication as well because, again, I had my own stigmas and biases against medication. I'm like, I'm not crazy. I'm not dealing. But we have to offer them, like she said, other options. I do holistic ways that holistic medication, or again, changing your diet, changing how much water intake, how much sleep you get. These things really factor
Very
into
important.
everything that we do, and we take those things for granted. You see what I'm saying?
believe in that
And
rest
I
is
don't
sleep.
believe in medicating everything and everyone. That's a last resort for me, unless you just come in and there's some diagnosis out there
That's
that
one-
require some real medication.
That's one of the ways I cure myself, just by just do a little simple things. Just doing little simple things like.
Give us some examples.
Well, let me tell you how I almost got into depression was losing a job that was very important for me, and I just came out of massage therapy school, and then I went into a chiropractic office, and then his patients liked my services more than his, so they were coming to me, so he felt a little bit threatened. Anyway, he found a way to get rid of me, so he did that, and that was the most saddest thing that ever happened to me. I mean, I graduated from the school. The school was GMI or whatever like that, but they no longer there and stuff. And they at that time they weren't helping like students to get jobs getting out of there. So I found that stuff myself. Went in there. I was making money. I was feeling good because I was doing something that was so dear to me. And then I get fired, so it was hurtful for me.
Yes.
I had to go home. It was like a money thing. I lose my job now. Now what I'm gonna do? See what I'm saying? So it's like, and it's just something about money too. That we stress over. It's just paper.
Well,
It's-
that's because a lot of us have never had
It's
it.
paper, but,
Emotional attachment.
but the thing is, we believe in it. You see,
Yeah.
that's why it's still in rotation. It's really a lie. See, they took the gold away in 1933, but that's another story. So we stressing.
that's gonna be another
That's
showcase.
Right.
Yeah, so we stressing over material things and stuff that's in the outside of us, not focusing on what's inside of yourself. See what I'm saying? What's inside of yourself is will and power. See what I'm saying? And you have to discover that for yourself. And the only way to do that is to be honest with yourself, like we was talking about. Being in tune with yourself, though. Concentrating and focusing on yourself. The thing is today, there's too many distractions going on. It's keeping people from themselves to be connected with God. You have to be quiet. You have to be still. You have to feel comfortable being in the dark by yourself. You have to be, and then you have to be comfortable feeling uncomfortable, because that's the only way you're going to get out from any adversity that you have in your life.
That's true.
I totally agree, but you know, when you're dealing with issues of trauma, mostly many other issues, but when you're coming from a trauma situation, it's very hard to be still and to be quiet. And you know, and we have to remember that when we're dealing with our clients, because a lot of times when you have a trauma client, you know that they are not cutting the light off, they're not cutting the noise off.
Yeah, that's
They're
true.
not cutting the noise off. And so that is a distraction to keep them from going, you know, what they think is going insane. So we have to be mindful of that.
I guess what I meant was
But
that.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah. That
You
we
have
have
to
to
get to
put
that place.
ourselves. We have to put ourselves through darkness. When we get ourselves through darkness, that's when we see the light. But we have to be comfortable there.
Yeah.
See, we have to. It's almost like hitting rock bottom. You have to feel it. Some people really have to feel it. That's why most of our children today, they're not really getting disciplined like the way they need to, because they're not feeling it.
Well, they're so
Definitely.
entitled.
So
Exactly.
You know.
they ain't not gonna
That's
change.
another show.
Don't get me started on that one.
They're not feeling it.
I agree with
But
what you're saying.
that's how I changed. You know, growing up, I know the way. You know, and a lot of people from the old school and stuff like that. That's the way we growing up. The more you go back, the more we follow the codes and morals that kept us in line. You see what I'm saying? And that's spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. And we pass that along each other. And that's what we need to be again.
And we're going to talk about the religion aspect of it, but I do want to touch on, I do want to, and I'm a Christian, but we want to touch on that. But I do want to, it's so many things that we can do. Therapy is one of them. The text chat is one of them. What you're doing is one of them. But like he's saying, going into a place, making sure, like you said, making sure you get your sleep, making sure you're resting, because that stress is one of the triggers that causes
Exactly.
a lot of things that's going on
Absolutely.
in our lives. So it's
Water
so important.
intake. I mean,
Absolutely.
seriously, just enough water in your body.
Yeah,
So
it's
your
addiction.
mind
It's
can
addiction.
function.
Right, because
A
sometimes
mental
when you're
illness?
dehydrated,
Yeah.
you can't
Addiction?
even think.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we
Yeah,
got the sugar.
substance use disorder.
Oh,
So we got the
sugar?
biggest, the biggest
Absolutely.
addiction is sugar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
They done changed the sugar now. There's no more natural sugar going on. We have processed sugar.
Yeah.
The same process they do to make cocaine is the same process they make the sugar today.
And that's another. He got about 3 shows.
No, but
Your producer, don't it?
But that is important though, to make sure that you get your rest and make sure you get in that water, because when you get dehydrated, you can't even think.
that's right.
Have you ever sat out at the pool sometime and you get the sweating and you just feel like you can't think, you
That's
can't
right.
move, you can't get up, and you're like, can I just grab that water?
Right,
And then you
right.
just drink a glass of water or a bottle of water and see how it changes
Feel
everything.
refreshed.
It
Feel
really
refreshed.
does.
Yeah.
Take a day off. I was a person that, I worked 7 days a week, 14 hours a day. I didn't want to take many lunches and things like that because I wanted to be there. I wanted to be successful, Now I understand to pull back and take if it's only a 30-minute lunch, because you can regroup when you come back and you're so much more aware than you were when you have worked those long hours straight.
That's
And
right.
you can be more successful if
Right.
you do that. Those
Absolutely.
things are important.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think too, unfortunately, and I can speak from personal experience, depending on where you are, sometimes you don't see the way to fix yourself.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, and that's where, again, trying to ensure that you get the help that you need is imperative. It is very important, because I know for myself, I got to a place where I couldn't see any other way out. It was so dark for me that I went into a place where I never want to go again, with my suicide attempt. So unfortunately, when you're that person and you're listening to everybody, oh girl, all you gotta do is this, and all you gotta do is that. No, obviously it's not, because that's not working.
It's
Right.
different.
I mean,
Exactly.
there are levels to where sometimes individuals can't see. Once they get to that dark place, they can't see the light.
And that's the
Yeah.
question you asked
What
earlier.
changed for you? What changed?
On my second suicide attempt, I heard God. That's what changed for me. I heard His voice and telling me that it's not time for you.
You was in a cave
I was in a closet, as a matter of
in
fact.
darkness.
Yeah,
I-
Real life.
well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's real life. And
Yeah,
I heard
yeah.
God's
What you
voice.
said.
Yeah, yeah.
And He said, I know where you are, but there are other people who need you, and you're the only one that can bring it to them.
That's right.
And so that's what
I
brought
think
me
some of the
out.
other things we were talking about was more preventive, before, because a lot of times when I worked the 7 days a week and 14 hours a day, should have never been doing it in the first place, but we want to have this, that, and that. But to prevent some of those things, I didn't get to the point where I was suicidal, I was depressive, all of that, but, I could have if it continued on. What happened to me, I had a near-fatal car accident. And one of the things, though, that prevented me from at that time, because you're losing your job, you can't go back to work, you can't walk for 5 months, you're burying your mom from a wheelchair, and you're saying, I can't go back to a job that I love. I'm going to have, my leg is going to be messed up the rest of my life. I'm going to have a limp the rest of my life. One of my legs is bowed and the other one is not. So, that can cause you to go into some depression and some other things as well.
Yeah.
That's when I came out with the book, and that's what I want to talk about, the journaling, because a lot of times that would help as well, because I didn't even know how stressed I
Right.
was until I started writing, and I was like, I really went through all of that.
When you go back
Because-
and look at it, you be like, wow.
Right. You don't even think about it. You're just getting through
I
it.
give every client first session a journal and a pen. Every
That's
client.
important.
You may not write every day. I don't care if you write one word.
Yeah.
Stop, look, whatever. Write something every day, and you'll be amazed.
Yeah.
So
You'll be amazed.
that's a help too.
I wanted to mention something because we can't just kind of
That's true. Gonna jump over it. Yeah.
suicide real
That's
quick.
true.
I also work with the mobile crisis response for mental health, and that's where I met.
You do a lot. When we got to talking, I was like, yeah, you're going to be on the show. She do everything.
So I kind of help manage a team of clinicians and paraprofessionals and certified peer specialists. And so what we do is go out and help those that are experiencing suicidal ideations, homicidal ideations, or psychosis. And that's where they're hallucinating and maybe a loved one is like, they need help, I need to get them to a hospital. These things it's harmful now. they can call, if you're here in Georgia, the Georgia Crisis and Access line, which is 1-800-715-4225. And then nationally, there is the suicide hotline, and that number is, I just want to make sure I had it because I didn't want us to not say it, 1-800-273-8255.
And we'll also get those numbers from you and put in the Facebook Live feed
good,
as well,
good.
so they'll have that as well.
Yes.
She does everything.
And
And so does Keba.
unfortunately, suicide, I mean, it's almost like popular now. It's like taking over.
Yes.
You know, you see the Facebook suicides,
Netflix.
and
Oh,
oh my
God.
god, it's just
It's
so
glorified.
much, yes. And unfortunately, it's kind of just taking over.
That's why my post was yesterday. I told you it was 3 people that I know, well, I don't know, but that I heard of committed suicide last
No,
week.
don't talk about it yet. Wait,
Okay.
Oh,
because your part is real. We got to get to that by itself. I definitely hadn't forgotten that.
no, that was it.
That's what we're gonna leave
that's
on.
it.
Just suicide has gotten just so
It
popular.
It is.
You know,
It's
it's like the thing to
glorified.
do.
Well, social media made it popular.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, where you're making this final
Oh, my
statement,
God.
and the people don't really realize how permanent.
Right,
That is.
absolutely.
And how many
Traumatic
lives
it
it
is.
takes as well.
Yeah. Who is
I mean, when someone
affecting?
see you kill someone or kill yourself
Right.
on a video,
Right.
I mean, how many people are seeing that and how many people are affected by that?
Even
And
if you
everyone
know, that's
responds
mental illness.
differently.
Yeah.
Right,
Like
exactly.
that's mental
Exactly.
illness.
It is.
Like if you
Exactly.
didn't know what mental illness looked like,
This
you
is what it
being
looks like.
Someone talking about death, theirs and someone else's, is mental illness.
Right.
So we need
Something
to
underlying somewhere. Someone hadn't gotten
Call
it,
that
someone hadn't
hotline, you can call
recognized
them.
it.
for them.
And people need to stop. I think not believing. You know, oh, they're not gonna do nothing. They'll be all right. You know, or watching it thinking,
Or
oh,
the
this is
opposite.
just you know.
Until at the end.
Right. This is not entertainment.
Yeah.
Do something. Matter of fact, I just saw something where some people were watching someone on Facebook and they saved that person because they started calling 911.
Wow.
You got to do that. This
Yes.
is not a
Yes.
joke.
You
This
got
is not
to
a
be
game.
Not a joke.
proactive
It's not a
versus
joke.
after it happens. Then you say, they go back and they do all this research and you find out all this stuff they were already doing, but no one saw the signs and no one said, but I didn't think they were really going to do that.
Right.
Well, of course you don't think
That's
someone is
right.
going to do something traumatic like that.
Because again, it's just like anything. It's like domestic violence. It's like addiction. It's like anything. After you've seen this over and over again, we become desensitized and we become incompassionate to it, I guess is what you want to say. Because you know, I'm not running over there no more with Johnny hitting her. He's hit her 10 times. She done bailed him out, and you see what I'm saying? Or I done put him in rehab 10 times and he hasn't got clean. He don't want to get clean. You see what I'm saying? So we get frustrated and we throw our hands up, which we can't do because that person is asking for help. They don't know how to help themselves, and unfortunately, we don't know how to help them either. Usually, so that's why we back off and throw our hands up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And you're right. And you're definitely right. I didn't know certain behaviors that they have is them communicating
That's communication.
and trying to let somebody know, yo,
reach
come
out
help
to
me
you.
out.
Yeah.
Come help me out. You know, it's not right with me. So I'm just trying to operate in this level. You see what I'm saying? So, and
Well,
that's
like she
true. A
said,
lot
you
of us
don't
don't
walk
like to
around
say
with a
nothing.
mirror.
A lot of us don't like to say nothing because we don't want the backlash from that person. We don't, you know what I'm saying? We're not trying to hear him getting mad or whatever like that. You're not trying to get into dispute. It's a lot of people that don't like to get into arguments. So they don't even come out with that subject
That's
anyway. Like, yo, I think it's something. Come on. But it's certain, it's not what you say, but it's how you say it. So, you know what I'm saying? How you talk to somebody, you know? Be
And
like, yo,
sometimes it's not anything right that you're going to be able to
Right.
say. You may have to go some other routes because if they're not in their right frame of mind, there's not really much communication you're
That
going to
you can do.
have with them. You have to go another route. I think what some people don't realize is when they just leave it alone, is it not in that person's DNA? Isn't it being passed along? See, somebody else didn't talk about it down the line, so somebody else didn't know.
Yeah.
So now,
It's
someone
just
in the
that it keeps
future,
going, yeah. The
somebody
cycle
else
continues.
still not going to know because now
The
they're
cycle
going to say
continues.
whomever that person is, oh, they just drug addicts, or they just alcoholics, or they just like to be to themselves. So you still don't know what's in your DNA.
Right.
You still don't know what may happen, and you may not be here to talk to the future generation when it comes up to when they began to do certain things.
Generational curses.
Exactly. So we have to break those, and the only way to break those is have communication to talk about things that are going on. Because if we can't talk about it, like Keba said earlier, if you can't talk about it, if you can't recognize it, if you don't know what's going on in your own family, how can we teach the teachers to recognize what's going on with our children? How can we let them know that everyone learns differently? See, now they know that everyone needs a different type of therapy, a different type of text chat, a different type of this. But we don't have 15, 20 years because we're losing a whole another generation.
That's right.
We felt like we've already mainly lost one.
Yes, that's
So
right.
now we're about to lose another one. We don't have 15 to 20 years. So we have to begin to talk about it so that we can help our next generation out. So they won't be going through this. We have to break it. We have to break it so that the police officers can be trained. Thank God for those cell phones now, right?
Right.
Because a lot of times people didn't know, the family members are saying they didn't know anything was wrong with
That's
their
true.
people, right? The police will say they didn't know. It's because they're not trained to recognize it because no one talks about it.
Yes.
When I got ready to write my book and I started talking about mental illness, everybody was like, mental illness? We don't want to talk a book about mental illness. So my friend researched and he got a movie that was done in 1980 something. The same thing went on in 1980. It's the same thing going on in 2017.
Yes.
So we had to make this out of a love story that's wrapped around mental illness, just for people to at least want to talk about it some. And we still haven't had the response that we should have had because, especially in the African American community, because it's going on and we're just letting it slide. Maybe because we don't have it. It's not at our doorstep. I know we did
our doorstep.
It's at
but
our
I mean, one particular person, they don't think that they have because they don't see it in their
Every
immediate
day.
family, right? You know, because out of sight, out of mind. Their uncle can have it, or a cousin far off can have it, but if they're not in the household with them and they're not dealing with it, they don't care about it. It's not on their doorstep.
But I'm telling you, we are.
Uh-huh.
We're in denial. We're dealing with
Absolutely.
it. Everybody.
Explain that a
I
little
mean,
bit
you know,
further.
most people are stressed out to the max. We are the most indebted, overweight, you know what I'm saying, society ever in the history of the United States. So tell me that 90% of us are not stressed out at home trying to figure out how to pay a bill. How are we going to pay this? How are we going to do this? If you're not stressed out about your bills, you're stressed out about your kids. If you're not stressed out about your kids, you're stressed out about your relationship. You're stressed out something. You see what I'm saying? So yes, you're dealing with it. I mean, you're living with it. You're not dealing with it. You're not facing up to it. You understand what I'm saying?
That's
And so,
the problem.
and that's what the problem is. But again, like you said, we don't recognize because we don't walk around with a mirror, and we don't. It's hard to look at yourself. We can tell everybody else what's wrong with them, but we can't tell ourselves what's wrong with
And
us.
that's a good segue to go right into,
right.
you know, because we're going to pray about everything, and everything is going to be okay. So go ahead and touch on that, because I see your lips already.
I believe in
prayer's
prayer. I
important,
believe in
yes.
prayer. Prayer works. I believe in God, and if you don't, then whoever you believe in, you go to them. I'm just saying, but I believe prayer works, but prayer without faith is dead, right? And so, action, you know. And so, like I was saying before, he's giving you everything you need to get it done. Move on it.
Right.
You know, and again, if you don't have anything to reference, then you don't have anything to pray for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You over there praying in vain. Really, it's going to that wall over there. It's not even going up to the heaven. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, if we don't understand it, but I you know, unfortunately, we've been chained in religion, and we've been chained into churches who have unfortunately put us in almost slavery mentality still, where we still believe these things. We have to get out again, research, do your work, do your research, get to know things for yourself, so you can have that type of relationship with whoever that you worship and you bow down to, pray to, and then you will see some changes happen. You know what I'm
And
saying?
I truly believe that we could.
No, I was gonna say, but you know, it's so much easier for us to be, oh well, this God's will. You know, we go to that when something don't turn out right, or when the prayer don't get answered right. Oh, it was God's will, and
it wasn't meant to be.
Right, exactly.
It's the devil. But
Right. Yes.
and a lot of us are looking for that miracle, and I truly believe that God is still in the miracle business. If He want to give you that miracle, He can. But sometimes we're looking at a gift horse in the mouth.
Absolutely.
You know, we're
Yes.
looking for God to heal us when He created that doctor or that medication that you need in
Exactly.
order to make sure that you are healed and make sure that you are sane to help you get through life.
Right.
And a lot of people don't want
That's
to,
the work. Yes.
But we're so
Yeah, that's the
mistrusting
work. You're
too
right.
in our culture. We don't trust doctors.
Oh,
we don't
yeah.
trust
Ooh, don't talk
police.
about that trust
We don't,
factor.
you know, they out to get us. They out to
That
hurt us.
trust
They
factor
killing
is-
us.
Yes.
You know, so
And
that's
I mean, and rightfully so. You know, we have proven track record that these things have
Absolutely.
occurred. But again, do your research. I mean, we don't want to be responsible and accountable for any actions that we have. We want to put everything on everybody else. You know, and so what they told me or they said or you told me to do. No, but what did you do? You know what I'm saying? Did you read any book on how to get this done? We don't want to read. We don't want to, you know, ask questions. We just want it in our face.
Right,
So, you know,
right.
and I don't mean to be like that, but you know, we have to do better on our health and wellness.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? We have to take
Do we
responsibility
have a call
for
on that?
us.
And we have so many in our own communities, black doctors, you know, black lawyers. So it's not that we don't have these people,
Exactly.
you know, readily available in our communities.
You have everything. You got Google and YouTube. I tell you, it's nothing
everything.
you can't do without Google. Google tell you and YouTube show you. It's nothing you,
You could
can't
do heart
anymore.
surgery
I
off
mean,
of
you sure
YouTube.
can. It's really, literally no excuse anymore. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
important. It's important whatever you do that you still research it. It's so important. When my husband was first diagnosed, we just wanted him to stop hallucinating, right? So we were like, whatever the doctor put him on, it must be right because he's not doing some of the things that he was doing, right? He's schizophrenic. He wasn't doing some of the things that he was doing, so we was fine with it. But when you look back at it, you was like, but he has no quality of life like that. You know, he's sleeping all the time. He can't do something. He always want to contribute to the family. And you're like, he doesn't have any of that. Then I started to researching
That
and
medication.
finding out that there's more than one medication. He don't need to be on all 5 of these.
Right.
And there are different dosages of them because I had
Or
never
what it
experienced it
counteracts
before.
with. It might
Right.
not work with coffee. It might not work with tea. It might not.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You got to take it at the same time every day. We don't do that. We're not consistent.
Exactly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm guilty. I'm raise my hand. I'm guilty of all of it. So I'm saying this to me as well. But I'm saying like we have to be accountable to ourselves, and we're not. You know, it was something you were gonna say there, but I promise you, I'm gonna get back to it. Go ahead.
No, the main thing was you have to research. You can't rely on somebody. When I wrote my book, I have a great publisher. I love her to death. Lanita Blackwell Mitchell, I love her to death. But I also did my research. I also went to Barnes and Nobles and a friend of ours, and we sat there and we just read books after books to see how their books was looking, what steps they was in, how the cover was, and you know, made sure we researched and made sure the editing was so important. We did all of that stuff. Even though I trusted her, I needed to know too, and I told her I'm very hands-on. I want to make sure because this is my baby, right, that I got to give birth to and I got to raise. So I wanted to make sure, that's how I felt.
That's for real.
And I wanted to make sure it was on that. So, but without research, I would have been relying on somebody else to do something. And then when it didn't work out, I
Yeah,
got
you
someone
point the
else to
finger.
go.
Right.
That's what I was
Exactly.
going to say. That when you said your husband, the doctor gave them, see, that we don't understand it's a family system. It works together. I cannot help your husband and not help the entire family. It's a song and dance. We do this little 2-step together. Because you know how you're going to respond. I know how you're going to respond. So I'm pick your button, you're going to push my button, and we're going to do this dance for the next 20 years.
Right.
But when his step change, see, it throw you off balance, don't you? And you mad. Like, wait a minute. You just supposed to come to the right.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
So that's what happened when he got medication or he got cleared. But then nobody else get medication and get cleared.
Right.
Then nobody else get help. So all this disarray over here. So what we do is we push that person back into where we want them to be, back into that box. Because, see, we were comfortable.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And I don't want to do my work because I ain't got the problem. He has the problem.
But I always say you both have to
But
have the
we
problem in
have
order to
to,
help
we
that
have to
person.
work together. The family has to work together. I tell parents that I can help your child all day, but I'm sending them back home to you. you making my work 3 times harder because I still got to reinforce everything over
It's
and
like
over
if the
again.
daycare potty train the child, but when the child go home, the parents are
put on
not
a
doing
diaper.
it.
Yes.
Well, how long is it going to take him to really get potty
Exactly.
trained?
Forever.
Because it's not consistent
Right.
everywhere he
Yes,
goes.
So it's a team, it's a system.
It
has to
is,
work
but
together.
now in saying that, segue into how can we get the mental health professionals to understand that it is a family situation, because normally they don't see it as that, because that person, once they're labeled, they have a mental illness, they're so protected till we can't sometimes do some things to help them.
Okay, what I think you're referring to is
I'll tell you now.
is HIPAA.
Yes.
And the fact that there is a privacy protection, of their health information. So, yes, some family members don't have access to certain information.
This
and
is when they have it signed, though.
Oh, yeah, when they haven't signed it, then there's no disclosure. They can't tell you what's going on, and a lot of times they don't want to include family members because of the law.
Right.
But we recognize. I know you got some, extraordinary therapists here on the panel. So we
I do.
recognize that we need to get some disclosures. We need to get some, privacy practice stuff signed so we can include your parent or your loved one. We need to know how things are happening outside of therapy, because you can come in and sit on our couch and tell us whatever you want, which is your right. You're paying us.
Right.
But we really want to get some real work done.
I mean, I think we're more inclined to be, to take the initiative to be as creative as possible. To make sure, a lot of people are not going to go the extra mile. You're right.
Yeah.
And so, I got 30 clients. I'm not going to fool and try to make sure
exactly.
that their wife knows. That's up to them. So, you have to do your research and find the person that's best for you, or keep looking. You know what I'm saying? If you have no choice, this is the person I have to go with. This is what my insurance pays for,
Exactly. That's
or
what I was
whatever. Or
gonna
this
say.
is my,
Yeah.
this is who they say I have to. Okay. What else can I do? Again, that's going back to, like you said, going in there, reading, doing your research. I just can't stress that enough. Like, we do not read. And I understand, because I don't want to read in school. I don't want to read no more either. But
You know what I found is that, and I found this out when I started doing the sessions with the veterans, is you don't know what you don't know.
That's true.
And
That's
so,
true. That's so true.
One of the individuals who was in the session was like, wow, I wasn't privy to all this information. I had no idea. So if you don't know what to ask, you don't know the questions to ask and things like that, then unfortunately you're still at a disadvantage.
That's true. Take somebody with you. I tell people, if you I know everybody doesn't have anybody. If you have someone, friend, a family, a comfort, roommate, whatever, neighbor, take someone with you, because a lot of times what happens is when we go into these offices, we're already, high anxiety, nervous, or whatever. You're not even getting all the information anyway, because you can't hear, because you're stressed out. Yeah. So you miss a lot of what you're supposed to get, because you can't even, you just trying to, did he say I'm dying?
Right.
My foot gonna get cut
I don't
off.
hear anything
You know what I'm
else
saying? So
that
you
they're
need
saying.
another person there who can help you kind of decipher that information and get. But again, like you said, they have to have permission. It's a lot.
And they do have to have permission. A lot of them, they do. I've been dealing with that a very long time. Yeah. And I think family members don't go because people don't listen. The doctors don't listen to them. The nurses don't listen. You don't have to tell me anything about their situation. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. You can't tell me nothing. I know. And one person norm may not be the other person norm.
Right.
So Representative Kimberly Alexander is trying to now get a law passed. It's not a law, she call it something else, but she's trying to get it passed where family members and therapists can now go and get the person some help if they see the medications is not working, if they see that they're going borderline, because now you can go in and you can tell them that this person is, the medication is not working. They're going to ask that person, well, if their medication is not working, what are you asking them for? Because they're not in their right mind to tell you that it's not working. That's the point. So a lot of family members get a lot of family members get irritated with that, and they stop coming with them. I know I see, and you don't see anyone with them, and I feel so sad for them, because they go in there and the first question they ask them, especially when my husband goes, You feel like hurting yourself. You think you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to think you're hearing voices. Well, if I am not going to tell you, you smart. Because they're very intelligent.
Oh, yeah, very.
I ain't going to tell you because you're going to lock me up.
Right.
I'm not really know the drill.
Right.
I was like, why are you asking those type questions? Because I don't think they're going to really tell you that.
Yeah, you gotta.
She was like, well, you know, every now and then one of them do. One? You got a million of them coming here, but one going to tell you? I mean, see, stuff like that just doesn't make any
That's
sense,
true.
you know. And I know they're stressed, they're overworked like every other job is. But it's like being a school teacher, it's like being a nurse. If you really don't have the skills that's necessary, the personality that's necessary, the caring that's necessary, you don't need to be in that job. Because that's a job that needs to be tailored from, you know, from the call center down. When they just calling to make an appointment, that's important that they know how to speak to that person, because this is they're calling, they have a problem. They finally said, something going on with me, I want to get in and see a doctor. But when I call in, they getting smart with me on the phone. So now I'm going to hang up. So now you have messed that person's life up. So what they need to understand, it is important to train everyone.
But I blame a lot of it on managed care. You know, unfortunately, when the insurance companies took over and did a lot of this managed care, it messed up a lot of humanity and compassion, and being able to take that time with the client and get the information needed. Now it's, you know, in 15 seconds, write some down and get out the door. And so managed care hurt us in a lot of ways, especially mental health. I know paperwork, like that's why I say I'm cash only, because I don't even want to deal with the insurance company. I really don't, because I've spent so much time on paperwork, I can't even help my client. You know what I'm saying? So managed care is it, but that's you know. Then I can get into the politics spin. You know, you got again read the research. Who you gonna vote for? Call your legislator and fight for the laws, because all these things matter and they affect, unfortunately, the lower income more than anyone.
And we have to, and that's why we have to get. Let me get a caller first, because that's going to be a whole nother conversation. We have a caller on the line.
Yes.
Hi, introduce yourself and ask your question or make your comment, please.
Yes. My name is Sharonda. I was calling. I wanted to get some more information from a therapist as far as how do you, what signs and symptoms do you look for when you have a family member or somebody, a friend that is experiencing suicidal ideation? What do you do to help them?
Well, definitely isolation. If you find them like, you know, being alone a lot, you know, giving away items, like you said, depression, crying, or maybe even too happy. Sometimes, you know, they can go to extremes.
Normally they get too happy just probably because they made that decision in their head that I'm finally gonna do it. I'm gonna end my life, and you notice that again they're giving out things. They just feel a lot more jolly. They're withdrawn from the things that used to make them happy. Like you said, tearfulness, sadness.
Okay. Excuse me one moment. Caller, can you turn your radio down so that it's making some feedback? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
She said what you can do to help.
Oh, yeah. Some of the things, of course, you know, I talked about that hotline that you can call to get a licensed clinician on the phone and someone to go to the actual location where they are.
If you're not there already, don't leave.
Definitely don't leave. Because it definitely helps them. Because a lot of people deny stuff, like we talked about, like, oh no, I'm fine, I'm not hearing voices. No. I ate something earlier today. But they have a poor appetite or poor sleeping habits. That's another sign of that suicidality. Any previous suicide attempts, that's another high risk factor. Maybe even preparation. Maybe they start collecting pills. Maybe they start playing with a lethal form of ending their life, like a gun. Talking about purchasing a gun, they have a gun. There's a lot of different risk factors, but definitely calling a 1-800 number and offering them some support and asking them honestly what's going on with them to help them.
And I mean, if you just really, really believe that they're going, I mean, call 911. I mean, they may be mad, they may be upset, they may be angry that you have them put away for 2 to 3 days, 72-hour evaluation. But if it'll save their life, then unfortunately you may have to do that if it gets to that point. If you really feel like, okay, they're so far gone and I don't have a choice, they're not listening, or I just can't get through. I think, LaShone, what can you offer? Because unfortunately you've been in these.
It's hard sometimes, to be able to pick out the signs and symptoms of, because some people will just act normal and then the next thing you know, they have killed themselves. So I would just say pay close attention and watch their behaviors. If you notice anything that's out of the ordinary, they're doing something that they normally wouldn't do. It doesn't even have to be something that necessarily is a suicide. Exactly. Anything that you notice that might be out of the ordinary that they start doing, I would pay attention to that and, try to talk to them. And again, if you feel like it's that serious, then you definitely need to get them some help and worry about them being mad later on. At least they're still alive.
They'll be just fine.
Yeah.
They'll be alive to tell a story.
Exactly.
Kayla, did that help?
Yes, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you so much for calling in, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You as well. And that segues right into this. A lot of people do not. Y'all are awesome. Awesome. I love it. A lot of people don't get loved ones help because they're so afraid that they're going to be mad at them. They're going to blame them. They're going to call them names and stuff. What can you tell them about that? Because I know, they will. Well, they will say things to you.
Like I mentioned, hey, they're alive to tell a story. They're alive to be mad.
Exactly.
So I think if we were to pick which side of the coin
right,
they actually have the energy to be mad at you.
And it's not just suicide. When they're
showing
addiction,
any
type of help. I know with the Georgia Crisis and Access Line, the agency that I work with, it's called Benchmark Human Services. So they have a contract to work in different parts of the state, and so you get someone there on the scene and they know how to talk to and handle that individual that's experiencing the crisis, and the third party callers, either being a loved one or a family member or a school counselor or a pastor or an employer. I mean, they go anywhere, and so we go anywhere.
I think that's important. People understand that mobile crisis really, I think, is in every state. We just need to maybe research and find a number that help. But they are so beneficial. But they will come to them free of charge, no charge, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You just call them and they will come to your home.
And don't try to handle a situation yourself.
Oh my goodness.
When you're not qualified to do so.
Right.
Get on the phone with the person who is and get that person the help that they need, because it's not a time to play with it, because life and death is it could be the one little thing could be the determining factor whether this person is here tomorrow.
So thank you. That segue right on into your post from yesterday.
Oh my goodness.
That we definitely want to talk about, because it was an eye-opener to me, because I talk about mental illness so much now since we've come out with my husband being schizophrenic, and we talk about our book, so people are asking me all kind of things. So that was a wake-up call to me to say, sometimes you can't give, and that was the second time that it was a remembrance to me. One was after I was on your show and I talked to someone else, and I was talking about schizophrenia, but they were actually talking about something else that was going on in their family members' lives. So everything that went for schizophrenia may not have gone for that. So when you said that was the second thing. So talk about that. Kind of tell what it was about first.
I don't really rant on Facebook. I don't do a lot of posting. So this post yesterday set some people off. And I was like, I'm okay. Everybody was
like, what you say?
I
missed it.
And I was just saying, just be mindful if you're offering help as a mental health expert. Basically, stay in your lane.
Right, absolutely.
If you have not been qualified or you don't have the training or skills, I'm not saying you have to have a degree. I think a lot of people say a lot of degrees, people mess people. I'm like, I'm not saying you have to have a degree to do this. I'm saying get some training in the field that you want to speak on. If you call yourself an expert in this, then go and do some work. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. And so a lot of people got upset. A lot of people happy. A lot of people upset, thinking that I was saying, "Oh, you have to have a degree." No, you don't have to have a degree, but stay in your lane. If schizophrenia is what you know and you've experienced, then that's what you speak from.
Exactly.
If they ask you about Bible, well, I can't talk to that because I don't know about that. I can refer you out. I can get somebody else on here to help you with that. A lot of times we just be talking and we can do more harm than good. And like I said, somebody mentioned to me 3 people this week have committed suicide due to people saying that they are experienced licensed therapists. They didn't have a degree to first, or a pastor in a church who is not experienced with mental health or mental illness, and the person ended their life. And a lot of people came back, like you said, oh, well, they want to do it, they're going to do it anyway.
Right.
You know,
It's not true.
you know, and it's like, okay, you're not going to win for losing, but at the same point, I'm just saying, do your work. Don't hurt people, because we have to be careful of our words, like I said, and we have to be careful of sometimes giving advice because it's based on our experiences and our biases, and what we've experienced may not be their story. So what worked for you may not work for everyone else, and we can do a lot of harm we can hurt people unknowingly trying to help. So be mindful of that. That's all I'm going to say. I have to check myself. I can't talk about everything, school or not. You know, I'm not qualified for every discussion on mental health.
And people get the misconception that people who kill themselves wanted to kill themselves. That is not true. Many times, it's the other way around.
Right.
But there is no other option that can be seen at that particular time. And those signs that you're seeing are those cries for help to say, I don't want to do this.
I don't know what else to do.
Exactly. Help me. You know,
There's
see
hope,
me.
There's hope in the end. That's
Exactly.
what they see. You know, there's some psychological pain. There's some stuff going on, and that ending my life is hopeful.
Exactly.
You know, that's provides some type of hope. And I think if we could offer as professionals, as peers, as people that are in this field, that have a passion for seeing people, if we can deliver some hope in another form, like I think about your therapeutic dramas that I really can't wait to witness. I don't even know how I'm in the bushes just looking. But I just think about the hope that it offers, you know, something to someone who really feels like there's no other choice. So.
Yeah.
And just in the way you're doing it is very great.
Well,
you want to catch the attention. And
what I found was, like I said, I was going through so much and the attempts, and I went back in my mind in a place where I was excited and happy about things, and that was in the arts. And that was a way for me to, you know, kind of step outside of myself and see myself. And in my mind, I was like, there are other people out there who I know who could benefit from this.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so that's where, you know.
And there's so many other types of therapy. You know, animal therapy. There's music therapy. There's so many different types of therapy. Art therapy, like you said, with the with painting and drama. And so let's just get in here and figure out what works best for you, what's going to help you to get to you, get back to you, to get to your happy place. Because sitting on a couch and talking to you for 55 minutes is not my idea either. I'm just going to be honest. I don't like it. I don't really care for it. I'd rather go to the park. We can go shopping. We can go, you know.
Oh my gosh.
Retail
Walk
therapy.
and talk.
Yeah, let's go make a vision board. Let's go do something. But sitting here, I say I have ADHD too, because I'm like a kid. I sit there too. I'm fidgeting and I'm ready to go, and I'm touching my hair. I'm ready. You know, I'm sleepy. I'm young. So I'm the same way. So I can imagine I know what the client feels like because I've been on the other side as well. But what I'm saying is, it's many options to this thing. You don't have to limit it. You don't have to limit therapy, and you don't have to limit yourself, is what I'm saying.
And that's awesome for them to know.
And you can actually do it in conjunction with other things that you're doing.
Yes,
You know, if you are in individual therapy, okay, great. Maybe try group therapy.
Yes.
And, you know, some other modality. There's so many things that you can do to move towards healing, and it doesn't have to be one thing. I'm on medication. I go to group therapy. I go to individual therapy. I do drama. So I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff that is keeping me straight. Exactly.
So she had our flyer up there. Can you put up one more time? So that goes back, and I'm gonna go back and say something about what you said, Keba, about your post. But this shows you, this is Miss LaShondra here in her blue formal pageant wear, looking beautiful.
Yeah,
Not that you're
nobody
naturally
would know.
beautiful today. Exactly,
That's
but it
something
tells
to
you
me, yeah.
exactly who could look at that picture and say this person
It's
attempted
valid.
suicide several times. You can't look at a person and see it. You got to know people. You got to pay attention to people. There are clues that they're giving you that something is wrong, but you have to open your eyes and you have to pay attention to that. So I just wanted to show that because I wanted people to see, because that goes back to what we first said. There's not a look, there's not a type of person that has a mental illness. You never know. You know, that person who has that mental illness didn't know that they was going to wake up the next morning and their lives was going to be turned upside down. 99% of the time, it's not their fault that it happened.
Right.
But they rely on other people to help them because they no longer can think for themselves. When I helped my husband out, I was his mentor, right? When he couldn't think, I had to be there to think for him. When I had my car wreck, I couldn't walk. He had to be my physical.
Right.
He didn't know how to pay any bills, didn't know what a mortgage company was and how to send it off. I still had to tell him how to do all of this, but he was my legs to go and do that if I didn't do it online, right? So we have to be there. We have to be their eyes and ears, and we have to make sure that we know our loved ones enough. We have to stop being, and I love the text chat thing that y'all do, but we have to stop being so into our devices, into our own lives, into our Facebook lives, and be into our real life, because we recognize fake more than we recognize real, right? If someone asks me, can I go somewhere, and I said, well, I really don't have the money, I can't come to the networking event, they get pissed because I can't come, right? But I told you I didn't have the money. If someone else making up excuse why they couldn't come, they cool with them.
Right.
And it could be the lie. They probably just didn't have the money just like I did. But we take that fakeness over being real. And real people can't be, well, we're shunned because I'm real.
Right, that's a whole nother show.
But we have to come out of that, and we have to still be norm. Like when I went back home and I did my book signing, the day before I did my book signing, all of the family got together. And it was so good because we don't see one another a lot. We don't get together like we used to. All the families are separated now. So we don't know when something is going on in their life. We just see what they put on Facebook. Oh, they just doing so good.
Right.
And the next day they go through a divorce. Like,
It was all coupled
you was
up.
just sitting on this love kissing and doing a video where y'all was in love. And now, so we got to get away from that so that we'll know one another, so that we can see those symptoms and signs when things are going on. That is so important.
And it's only going to increase with the, with the technology the way it is. We have robots taking over everything. It's taking over marriages, taking over sex, it's taking over everything. So it's only going to increase. I'm sorry, it is. I'm sorry. Taking over marriage. They are with marriage. You hear the lady married the robot? And so anyway, so we are. And then, millennials, like you're saying, younger kids, this is what they know. This is what they were raised with.
And I love it because you can get your point across. I love the texting and stuff. But at some point, I need to talk to you.
We can't talk.
I need to see you. Right. Because you can hear a voice or you can see a face and know something wrong without them saying it.
There's so much you can tell.
We have a caller on the phone.
Hello. Yes, how are you? I don't want to say my name, but I just want to send a special shout out to Miss Garth on your show. This is one of her friends, and I want to tell her that I love her. And I know that she's been going through a rough patch, and that I'm here for her. Awesome. And I think that is magnificent what she's been doing with her fight and her movement.
Awesome.
And this is one of her friends. She knows who it is. I don't want to put my name or take the light off of what you guys are doing right now, and I think it's incredible. And I think I missed the whole show. I'm sorry about the noise. One of the biggest things that a problem with us is that we don't walk in our own truths. Yeah. We try to hide from the realities of the mental situations that we go through and just try to sweep it up the rug. And I'm pretty sure you probably already covered it. But until we face it and address it, it's just going to continue to go on and go on. But Ms. Garth, I love you.
I love you too, baby. I miss you. Thank you. I miss you too.
We did cover it, but it was good for you to say it again.
All right, baby. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
That's one of my very, very, very dearest friends, and he knows I'm going through some stuff recently, and I just kind of I pulled back, So even my friends now notice I really kind of haven't been on Facebook a whole lot.
That's important.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for him to recognize that is just is awesome.
But that's even important when you miss people on Facebook. You know that they're all the time on Facebook. They're posting every day, but you don't see them for a while. Why not send them a little message? I do it all the time and say I hadn't seen you
Well,
for a
not
while.
only that, but the total opposite. The one who posts all the time.
Like you
Yeah.
The one who
That's
pick the pictures and the one who posts out. You need to be concerned about them as well because there's something going on
Yes.
with them as well.
Narcissistic?
No, because I post all the time. And I'm not
or depression.
Yeah, absolutely.
No,
Or
no,
the-
I don't think.
and Net does too. She posts all the time.
You're a social media person though. You're doing it for your business. To me, that's different. When you are consumed with social media, you see what I'm saying? And it controls your every thought. It determines what you do and how you fake it till you make it. You know what I'm saying? Then that's a problem. You're doing this for your business. That's different. You're posting your grandkids. You're posting your pictures of your book. You're doing it. That's different. I know people who literally this keeps them going. Like this is their daily activity all day long, and what people think and how they respond or don't respond. Oh, so and so didn't even respond to my post. They didn't say they like my picture.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying, that's a problem.
It's like people just put their self-esteem onto the social media. Exactly. That's let me just take it out because I don't really have it in myself. Let me just take it out and just put it on there.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for the gratifications of the notifications.
I had it out with a friend because she said, "You never tell me you like any of my pictures. You never tell me I'm beautiful." I'm like, "I tell you to your face. Why do I have to say it on Facebook? Why do people need to hear me say that to you? I tell you to your face how I feel about you. Or you never. I tell you all day I love you and you're beautiful. Okay, but to them that's important. They want that acknowowledgement, and I'm like, oh my God,
Right.
I ain't that girl to give it to you.
But like I said, that's that person. That's that person that they like he said, that self-esteem that they want to have. That's what they're portraying. They're portraying the life that they want because they like the fakeness versus the real.
It's so crazy because it perpetuates more of this fakeness. Because
Right.
I think, when I'm in maternal mental health, part of my life and my passion is working with women pursuing motherhood. So when they see motherhood look like this, based on everybody's post of this lovely birth, of this lovely, beautiful
Family.
baby that's curled up in his blankets, and then in their reality, this baby won't go to sleep. This baby won't stop crying. This, my body has changed completely, and I don't know what to do with this new body. Like they're having depression and anxiety, or
And we're not seeing
stressors
that.
or PTSD from their birthing experience. Maybe that was a traumatic experience for them, and they are dealing with some of just all kinds of stuff, y'all. Like women go through a lot in that way, and so just kudos to all these mamas that are holding it down, taking care of their babies, or finding the support from other people.
It
to
takes
take
a
care of
village.
their baby,
It takes a
like
whole
you just
village.
So
gotta
while
do
you're
it.
there, it most certainly does take a whole village to raise one child, and I think we've gotten away from that, but that's another
God, it
topic.
takes a village. Yeah.
Six though, right? Go ahead.
Right. We got our rest of the year. We're done. But talk about your organization a little bit, your business a little bit more.
Well, it all started, after I had my son. I was actually having difficulty with breastfeeding, and realized like, oh gosh, I need help. My whole pregnancy, I was determined to breastfeed. Never really got the education I needed until he came, and then all of a sudden was having some difficulty. Found out. Through a lactation consultant, what I needed to do. The lactation consultant was nice. She didn't look like me, so she missed some cultural factors, which inspired me to become a lactation specialist. So I was like, I'm gonna help my sisters with these babies, because I don't see my face on that poster in that office, So got fully inspired. I was already a clinical social worker, the license, and then put the two together, which was to work primarily with families, empowering women to be their best selves with their babies, realizing that women go through a lot of depression and anxiety, and that having these babies or pursuing to have the babies, like trying to conceive is stressful. There's fertility issues that face the community, even Black community. Like we just may not have the money to get the treatment, to finance the treatment. Our insurance companies don't pay for that kind of stuff, and so they're dealing with this void of being a mother, or the challenges of being a mother, and not having someone to kind of help them process that and get through it. And that's what kind of helped me, push forward and start Maternal Insync. which is just an agency just for women pursuing motherhood.
That's
So,
awesome.
And we're gonna make sure we put your information in the comments as well, so they'll know how to reach you and all of that.
And it's
You
so
do so
important
much.
because there's so many women who don't even get the prenatal treatment and things that they
Right.
need. So that is so important.
Oh
what
gosh,
you're
they're dealing
doing.
with so many
Yeah.
stressors. They
Yeah.
find out they're pregnant with the pregnancy they did not want.
Exactly.
And how do they cope and manage with that? You know,
Yes.
or they felt like this pregnancy was going to keep my partner
Yeah,
with
it
me,
did.
and it
That's
didn't.
right, yeah.
Or it adds more stress. Or this husband or partner or lover doesn't know how to handle you now being pregnant. You
Right.
know, like
And then with the increase of autism, like
Oh
we
my
have so
gosh,
many
yeah.
people with kids being born with developmental disabilities now, and so you know a lot of women are unfortunately getting married later because we do our careers first, and then we get married in our 40s and late 40s and trying to have a baby that increases it. So all those different
even
things come with.
imagine.
With me either. Don't even talk about it. 'Cause me either. But yes, they're doing it. Kudos to them because
yeah, but they, I can't
yeah,
imagine.
so
But they-
I
they
mean, but
do.
that autism, I know a lady has 3 kids on the spectrum, and it's
gosh,
like,
yeah.
you know, wow.
That's a lot to
My
manage.
husband has
That's
a
a lot.
special needs child who has autism.
Wow.
And it's a lot to manage when you don't have the education.
Right.
When you're dealing
The
with
support
the,
and-
yeah.
Or when you're in denial.
Oh
That
my
too.
gosh,
Yeah.
yes.
Right.
Because
People
there's
deny
a
about
lot
their
of
kids,
denial.
Yes,
about that.
and there's nothing wrong with my child.
Yeah, I'm just gonna beat it out of them.
Exactly.
Or no, they just
They're just lazy.
Right.
They can play their
Because
video
they're
game.
listening to what the public is saying about them as well. Because, you know, like I said, when I used to go to the stores, I didn't understand why this child was just screaming and hollering and crying. And why is mama allowing them just to do that? I mean, you know, I can, you know, let's get a spank or something going on here. But then once I...
Right.
Exactly. You know, because we're quick to say that.
Right.
Or if that was my child,
Right.
you know,
Exactly.
they're not going to do that. But I had to learn and understand and not give them those looks that I used to give
Right,
them.
right.
And say, you know, give them a smile instead.
yeah,
Exactly.
because their mom needs some encouragement.
Exactly.
And I imagine she's probably experiencing some embarrassment, humiliation, or she's completely
Right.
checked out, which
Yeah,
is also
exactly.
Exactly.
Yes.
you know, depressing.
A
When
smile
I
goes
was
a
in my
long way.
undergrad, part of my course was to take care of a child who was autistic, severely autistic,
Wow.
12-year-old. And man, I learned so much during that time. He was very self-injurious and combative and just no self-help skills, and it was a toll on me, and I was only there like once a week. So I can imagine,
Right.
Yes.
you know,
Every day,
Yeah,
all day,
being
it's your
with-
life.
And then she's getting this whole community when she goes out that no one understands
Yeah.
her. So we have to get away from that, thinking that every child should be the same, or every child should be like our child, or every child should not cry in public, every child should not act up in public. Sometimes when they're acting up and you are allowing them to act up, it's a reason behind that. And sometimes just to give that family, there's one of my Facebook friends, she has a artistic son. And I think it's so awesome how she handles her son and how the family surrounds her and how her friends surround her to give her that support that's needed. And so now every time he does something that's not normal, everyone is not looking at her like,
Right.
can you get him, please?
Right.
Because
What's wrong with you?
everyone understands and we're your support system. And I think that's so important to have that, but not everyone has that. So now you know that there are people that are, when the kids are cutting up, give that mom a smile. Just walk by and touch her.
Yeah, say it's gonna be all
You
right.
know,
Yeah, you know.
I understand it's okay. Just let her know it's okay, because you got 15 other ones behind you saying, can you shut them up, please?
Right.
Can you stop them?
right.
Or they got their videos.
Don't you
out.
know?
Right.
that-
Look at this
Right.
child.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But don't you know if a child, and again, I didn't think this way all the time now. I'm very honest
You're
about
progressing.
that. Exactly. Learning more. But it's been years since I thought like that. But everybody is, you know, if the child is running, knocking everything off the shelf, and the mom is not, you know, disciplining the child, you know it's something else got to be wrong.
Something else going on.
They're not just,
whole
you know.
family.
Yes, yes. So we're going to circle back around and talk about your making sure that you have some type of training. I know that there's NAMI gives the peer-to-peer training and all those kind of training. So where else can they go if they are interested in, because I love what you said or what someone else said about, you know, being that person that someone always like to come to. So if you are that person that someone always come to and have that conversation with, maybe you need to get a little training so that you'll be able to give them the right information. So besides NAMI, where else can they go to get that type of training?
Well, you know, like I said, I'm specific to crisis intervention and mommy support. And there is an upcoming training called a perinatal mood and anxiety disorder certificate training in Marietta, August 24th and 25th. What I can do is just make sure that it's linked. There's a website, the postpartumsupportinternational.com. You can go there, and that they just sponsor trainings nationally. We were literally hot off the presses, just got this one set up for Marietta, Georgia, which is amazing because now people can come right to the hub, Atlanta, and get some training. So that's another form. We also are putting on Mommy Moon ATL, which is just for new moms and expecting moms and trying to conceive moms. Those are in that process that I'm hoping and wishing and praying for a baby, and I'm doing what I got to do. They can come out to our event, which is May 20th on Saturday.
So I need to sync you up with Teresa Wright
Yes, definitely.
and
She definitely
with
do
Sandra Braxton.
Okay.
So we're giving you
I
shout
already know
outs.
Miss Sandra.
You know
Yeah,
Miss
I know
Sandra.
Miss
She's
Sandra.
nothing but love
Right.
right there.
Right.
Nothing but love. So those two will be
my
great.
gosh, yes. I'll make sure that you guys have those links and can hook that up.
And hopefully we put it on all of the Facebook Lives that are running so all the viewers can have a chance to
Mommy
see
Moon
that.
ATL is a retreat. It's a retreat just for
nice.
these women, and we sneak in some mental health stuff.
Right.
In
Right.
there. You can't just come in like you said. You got a love story, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Just can't come out and say it's mental illness.
Right. We got retreats wrapped around. You hear retreat, you're like,
Right.
spa.
Relaxation.
Oh my gosh. And so that's what we doing for these women, and it's amazing what we have planned and in store for them. We've got sponsors and gift bags and T-shirts, all that kind of stuff. So
I do want to say we do talk a lot about women, but we can't forget
we
our
can't.
men.
I know.
A lot of the prison population are
my
people who have mental illness
Yes.
that was overlooked.
Yes.
So we definitely need to still think about our male
Oh, yeah.
population, how important.
Yeah, and
it
that's
is.
what we
mentioned
talked
Nami.
about. Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. That's why they do that crisis intervention training for
For law
police, law enforcement,
enforcement.
so they can
And it
be
was
more
big.
sensitive to.
Georgia just had their convention in Savannah, and it was a lot of law enforcement that was there. And I know some that came from Atlanta that was there as well. So I was happy to see that.
I helped train in Cobb County, NAMI officers.
Okay,
So
forgetting that's where I met you.
yeah,
at.
exactly.
Yeah, I
But
did
it
it
was
when
a
I
lot
worked
of them
for
there, yeah.
when I worked for Alpharetta Police. I did mine. I used to work for Cobb Police also. So, but yeah, but training again, Google and YouTube. I don't know any other way to say it. Like Google.
But let me tell you, people will not go to Google. When I used to do Periscope, and I would tell people that I did a video, and I would put down everything what we was going to talk about and my little hashtags, and I would put my handle for Periscope. I wouldn't get one person from Facebook, over 1,000 followers. I wouldn't get one person that will go over to Periscope. What I started doing is putting my link on there, so all they have to do is hit the link and go there. They were all jumping over there looking at it.
So they're lazy, basically.
Right.
Exactly, but if this is what we want them to do, we have to make it accessible
Make it
for them.
easy for 'em,
They just
yeah.
will not go to Google and find it. So if we have links and we have places that we know they can do it.
It's a lot. I'm telling you though, it's a lot of work. Like I speak and just finding conferences to speak at, just finding those type of classes and training. It takes hours of research. So I get why you don't want to do it, but I'm saying if you want some training, you have to do. And it's a
But
lot
we're gonna
of
give you one or
free-
two links, though.
It's a lot of free stuff out there. It's a lot of inexpensive classes out there, and. Golly, come on, people. I mean, we just can't give you everything. Like you teach your kids. I can't just give you everything. I hope you do. I can't give you everything, right?
So we're gonna give you
Just
one
make
or
sure
two
that
of
it's credible, though, because we have so many imposter classes and things like that, and people who. And I love life coaches, so I'm not saying this, but everybody is a life coach
now.
Right. So, just make sure that it's credible.
That's true.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome.
true.
Awesome. So
That's a 7th show.
Right.
We be back next week.
Right.
So we have a few more minutes. I do want to give about 5 or 6. They gave us a couple more minutes today. Give about 5 or 6 minutes to just, what do you want to leave the viewers with? So we'll start with you.
Okay, well, definitely opportunities to get the support that you need. If you are someone in crisis, and that could be, like I said, suicidal, homicidal, maybe you're experiencing psychosis or know someone who is, there's help out there. It's available. It's free. You can just talk to someone on a hotline, or you can actually have a clinician come to you. In Georgia, 1-800-715-4225. And then, of course, Dr. Google, look it up. There's the 1-800-suicide hotline, too. Then also for those pursuing motherhood, there's support that you can love your baby with your best self. And there's all kinds of stuff out there for you. But you can go to www.maternalinsync.com and get some more information, to get linked to me, follow me. I can, what I do is post various things, support for moms, and help them with their motherhood journey. So
Awesome.
I always say we invest in everything except our mental health.
Right.
You'll buy a life insurance policy. If they told you need a heart tomorrow, you'll sell the house, you'll pawn the car. You'll do whatever you need to do to get that heart. And I think we have to take that same initiative for our mental health. And so it's so important that we invest in ourselves and in our health. And so health and wellness of us and our family, leave that legacy of good health. And so we want to always leave some money, and we want to leave some things, some possessions, leave some legacy of mental health, and good wellness. That's what I leave with people.
Then they'll know how to use that money then. Because you need money,
Exactly.
they know how to use it.
I say definitely be honest with yourself. Love yourself. Sometimes we find love in the wrong places. And we're all love. Together we're one. So we should help one another. But that's the love that you have to install within yourself first, so that you can blend with the love of others. So, and also being honest, being truthful, and also eating healthy, natural foods. Like a lady here said, she said, drink water. That's the most vital.
That's what that lady said.
You need to,
But I drink water too.
need to move those cells. They have to go to where they need to nourish your body, nourish your organs, to nourish your body as a whole. So you take care of the body, that houses the mind, so the mind can operate at its fullest capacity with connection with the cosmos. So that's very important. I wake up with 32 ounces of water as soon as I wake up. I drink. You have to drink water according to your body weight. So you take half your body weight and you turn that from pounds to ounces. So for me, I weigh about 165 pounds. So I drink about a half a gallon every day. So I start as soon as you wake up. It's best to drink your water because you're actually fasting while you're sleeping. You're not eating while you're sleeping, so all your cells are doing what they're supposed to be doing, repairing, healing, and so we have to incorporate that, and we have to incorporate rest. A lot of people sleep, but they don't get no rest.
That's true.
That's true. Important. We have to reset ourselves every single day.
I used to do a blab, and I had a blab show about that.
It makes you irritable. It makes you not want to deal with people. It makes you not even focus if someone is trying to help you. Rest. Very important.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
So for me, part of our motto is glow, grow, love, and overcome. And that's just really learning yourself. And look at my face. This is the face of mental illness. It's not what you may think it is. It's something probably that you wouldn't believe. But, so like my friend who called up here, stay close to your friends, stay close to your families, and, be able to recognize when something is awry and be able to step in and provide assistance and get that person help, because you want them to be here tomorrow. And I'm so glad that I still am.
Yes,
We're glad
too.
you are too. And thank you for sharing your struggles, your triumph, your victories.
Yes. Thank you.
Miss Marcia, what you want to add?
I just want to always be a listening ears, give a listening ears. A lot of times we are so busy and we don't take the time to listen. This is another show, but
We have 8 or 9 of them today.
there's a teenager who killed herself a few days ago, and you know, the mom did not listen. It's like she just said she'll be okay. So, you know, it's very important for us to listen and don't take things or what, you know, our children say, our loved ones say for granted. Look out for symptoms because we never know.
That's right.
You never know. So
Especially when dealing with our young ones. I did on my other show. I had the young teenagers and adolescents on there, and what they talked about is what's important to them may not seem important to us.
Right.
And so we got to pretend that it's just as important to us, and we got to go overboard with it, and we got to really pay attention to it. Because, again, what's important to them may not be important to us, and it may not be as big as we think it is. But in order to save them, we have to know that. We have to know it's important.
we have to listen.
Right. So what I want to leave is to make sure that you talk to your family members, what's being passed down in your family. Make sure you have a support system. As Ms. Garth said, make sure that you pay attention to your family members. You know, don't let social media be everything. Don't let it be the only thing that you're having. You know, you should surround yourself around your family so that when you are in a crisis, when you are going through something, your families are able to recognize it. And then I talk to the families. I want to talk to the families and say, if you are part of that support system, you have to stand strong. When that person can no longer do for themselves, you have to be there to be that mouthpiece for them, to be able to ask for help when they can't ask for help for themselves. So you have to be able to stand strong when they're no longer able to stand strong. So I think those two things are important. So we have about 3 more minutes. I just want to say again, thank y'all so much. Y'all do so much in the communities. We appreciate it. We appreciate you sharing your stories. We appreciate the 15,000 things that you're doing. You're just everywhere. So we can put all your stuff in there. We thank you, and I thank you. I really thank you for that post. I know, and I read everything, and I know you got a lot of slack off it, but truly for me, it was a wake up. If you're not, like I said, it was my second remembrance. If you're not qualified to talk about that, don't do that. You know, you can be a listening ear to that person,
Right.
long enough so that
we
person,
don't
so you
always
can get
have
that
to
person.
give the advice.
Exactly. So you can refer that person, and maybe be the person, because they confide in you. You may be the person that maybe take their
them
hand
and lead them. That's
to
right.
where they need to
Link
go.
them. That's right.
So I thought that was very important. I appreciate you for putting that. You put it in there out of anger because you was mad because people are doing it and people are still dying. So I heard that. I saw that.
Definitely.
But I thank you for putting it in there because it's a wake up call. We all need to know, because I don't want to tell someone something and then I find the next day they've committed suicide.
harmed themselves.
Yes,
Right.
I don't want
Right.
to do that. So I thank you for that, and I appreciate everything
Thank
else that
you.
you're doing in the community as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I know this
Yeah.
is your second time on the show. We appreciate
this
you.
is my second time, and I'm happy to be here. Finally, I got here. I do
Yeah, at
like,
the beginning of the show, yeah.
I do. Yeah, right. I have a series of lectures that I do for free. For free. I have
You
one
got
coming
one
up.
sec, 1 minute.
Whoever's looking at the show, y'all could come on over. It's for free, and I'm talking about the title of it is "We Are What We Think." We are what we eat. We are what we think.
Okay, but can we put it up in the comments, because we
No
only
problem,
have
no
1
problem,
minute,
no
please.
problem.
And we have to say congratulations again to
Yes.
Women of Empowerment 1 year anniversary. We're excited about that, and we are the Instinct Radio. It's the number one internet radio show. So y'all are in good company. Thank you, viewers, so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. Have a wonderful night. Oh, we got some. Oh. Y'all, this is my babies. Neither one of them has no personality.
You gonna act mama.
Right.
Mama just be for real. No personality. This is my oldest one. This is the one gave me my sugars. And that's my youngest one. That's my mini-me. He hates when I say that. Yes, he just like me. Thank y'all, baby. I appreciate that. We all need love, even though our kids are grown. We all need to still feel love from them. Probably even more then.
Yes.
So thank you, viewers, for coming on. We're going to put everything in the comments where y'all can get all of this good help and share it. Please share out the Facebook Live videos so that other people can hear this great information.
Yes. Thanks, Dave. I love you.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.